Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. Big news at the top of the hour is that I forgot that it was a half day for the kids at school today. So they're upstairs. I am going to probably cut the live stream a little bit short just to make sure the kids are all right. I fed them some food, so that should keep them preoccupied for a little while. But yeah, that's like the big news that's going on for today, main thing. And other main news is there's no unboxing today, but it doesn't mean there haven't been packages coming in to the house. I actually got 2 different packages this week that I can't show you yet, unfortunately, because those shoes are under embargo for a little while. But I ran in one of them today, and it was rather enjoyable, I got to tell you. So, and I have a feeling about the other one too. I've tested an earlier version of it. So assuming that didn't change much from when I tested it earlier to now, should be also really good. So exciting things coming. These are 2 of the shoes that I kept kind of hinting at you guys that there's other shoes that I'm still kind of excited for, but I can't tell you guys about them yet. Those are going to be embargo lifted in a little bit. So good things are coming. That's exciting news to me. I wish I could share more with you, but I can't. But that's kind of on top of mind. All right, before we get any deeper into the show, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version on the podcast. Hope you're having a good run out there today. Today for my run, like I mentioned, I had a really fun shoe to run in, but it was raining and humid and warm, which like unseasonably warm. So like, yeah, I was a little bit uncomfortable out there today. I ran in the Kufuzi Run Club shirt, the pizza shirt from Chicago. I have a black version, and I was thinking, cotton shirt will be fine. It's October. It's going to be a little bit wet out. Probably it'll end up working. It'll keep me warm, but because it was extra humid, I was hot and uncomfortable today. So hopefully you're having a better run, temperature wise, than I did. And for everyone else watching this later on YouTube, but not live, welcome to the number one place to get weather information that is probably going to be untimely by the time you're watching this. So as far as that weather goes, let's check in with the weather report. We got Daniel Burton here in the chat saying it's cool and foggy in Greeley, Colorado, 47 degrees. You guys are about to get some real big weather changes though soon. So I feel like that I feel like is a snapshot in time. Steven Gersdorf says it's cloudy in Los Angeles at 68 degrees. And Crunchy says, I'm crying in 80 degrees, but you wouldn't be able to tell since the sun is evaporating my tears as they come out. Whew, all right. Crunchy is in beautiful Oklahoma. Perks of living in the plains. 80 today and 40s by the weekend and back up to the 70s next week. Yeah, for here in Crystal Lake, we've been in the 70s all week. And we will be all week, too. And then it's not even getting that chilly at night. Like yesterday, after my shower in the evening, I put on a hoodie, and then I ended up being super hot. So I was like, what's going on here? I'm ready to be in cozy mode, but the temperatures have something else to say about it. All right. Frank's giving us an update on Big's backyard. Said there's still 3 people out there on lap 102, and the world record is 102. Oh, that is big news. Sega Dreamcast says my run here in Baltimore tonight will be in the high 60s. That's singlet and shorts weather. That does sound nice. Very nice. Peter Scott says it's wet. We do really have a full weather report here. Peter Scott says it's wet and cold in Glasgow, Scotland. Not jealous of the heat at all. All right. Okay. And Frank says another update. It looks like all 3 made it in after lap 102. So we're definitely making it to lap 103. Oh boy, that's crazy. Really wild. You know what's funny? So I had a really fun time running a trail race over the weekend. And you guys have been seeing me doing a lot of trail running in some fantastically beautiful places over the summer. And everyone's like, all right, well, when are you going to do it? And I'm like, guys, I really enjoy running in the trails, but I have very little desire to put on a bib. I did put on a bib, but, it was a sub-ultra race. Just about 2 hours is what I was expecting, maybe 2.5. And that, I think, was fine. But like a lot of people, some people jokingly, but some people seriously were like, all right, well, Leadville next, or like UTMB, or like all right, we got to find a qualifying race for Western states. And I'm like, no, guys, no, thank you. I don't want to do any of those races. It's just so far. Too much running. I just don't want to run at night. That's the thing. I just don't like night running. Also, like the idea of like running delirious just doesn't sound fun. Like I was looking at Ultra Trail Stevens' Instagram post. He ran the No Business 100, and he has pictures in front of him in like zombie mode, and I'm like, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. I don't want to be like that. Alf Dickens says, "Hey, hi-ho, great spirits. 8 by 800 meters bank today and feeling strong." There you go. The other day, I posted a reel on Instagram. I've been doing like the this week's paces. Kind of just my main point with the this week's paces is to emphasize that I do run very easy runs, like low heart rate. And they are significantly slower than some of my kind of race paces. That's the whole point. But I also show that I do run some faster workouts as I'm preparing for this half marathon. And people are like looking at that and they're like, who coached you? Who told you this is a workout that makes sense? Like none of this makes sense together. And I'm like, yeah, I'm very, very much not coached, very much self-coached. So I'm doing weird workouts and that's cool. I'm just letting you know what I do. But last week it was all just 6 times 6 minutes. It was just all like threshold workouts. This week I will be doing some 800 meters. That's why I'm talking about your workout, Alf. Not saying that yours is a weird workout. Yours is a very sensible workout. Although, you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do 400. I might do 400 meter repeats. I got to work out on Friday. I think I'm going to take the Koros, the Pace 3, since it's a track edition. I'm going to take it to the track. Feel like that makes sense, right? I might do some 400s. That's what I'm thinking. I don't like 800s, or I don't like 800s. Because if I'm doing an 800, you have to do it faster, and that's a long time to go fast. So even though most of my work is like kind of mile repeats, those are at threshold pace. If I do 800 meters, I got to do that at 5K pace, and that's just a lot. That's a lot of work. So I think I'm going to do like 16 400s at 5K pace. It's kind of like 8 by 800. Just spread more resting. I like the more resting. All right. Calvin Wong says, "Hey, hi, all sad I missed the stream yesterday. 34 degrees Fahrenheit and snowing in Washington. What? That's crazy." And Mark says, "I think we're getting our first snow of the season on Saturday." Oh boy. I think are we getting closer now for weather predictions for Marine Corps? Is Marine Corps still going to be hot? In Indianapolis, still going to be raining? Is that what it is? Wojciech Malkowitz says, "Hey, hello everyone. 10 days until New York City Marathon." That's right, 10 days. Till New York City Marathon. Today, you've probably seen, if you've been on Instagram, you've probably seen it. The big poster photo for the big shakeout on Saturday that I'm doing with Believe in the Run. There's still space available for that. I'm also doing one Friday night with Laura Green and Asics. That one's been full for a long time, unfortunately. So like those are two that I'm doing. I'm doing the plogging event with Drew. Drew and I are going to go up and do some plogging with Tina Muir. And then the Adidas is having a clubhouse or something. So I'm going to check that out. Trying to think of what else I'm going to do. Pioneers is going to have a pop-up, I think. So I'm going to check that out. I'm going to stop by. I don't know what Bandit's doing, but I'm going to stop by. Check it out as well. Because I feel like I think they have a new retail space now, right? I've seen it on pictures of it, but I haven't seen the new permanent retail space. So I'll have to check that out. I mean, think about it. Last year, was it just a year ago? Just a year ago, Bandit had their first pop-up physical retail space. Am I right? No. That was 2 years ago, right? I don't know. Either way, Bandit has blown up in the last year. Pretty cool. All right. Adam M. Torres says, "It's weird when it's this warm at the end of October." It is and it isn't though. Last year it was hot for Halloween. I remember. I remember some of the neighbors. They had fire pits, going on in their driveways or in their front yards, so that way they could like sit and be cozy while like trick or treaters were happening. And it was like, oh, this is kind of warm for a fire pit kind of day. I remember my kids didn't even wear a jacket. I think this year, I think it's going to be 40 degrees for Halloween here. So like normally, I feel like it's more common that like kids have to wear jackets over their costumes. Then they could just wear their costumes. But, we always get that warm spell. I remember one year for Thanksgiving when I was at my in-laws' place and all of us got together to play some, flag football or two-hand touch football. I mean, we were playing in shorts. So and then other times there's a snowstorm on Thanksgiving. Midwest is weird. We get lots of weird stuff. Luis Becerra says, yo, what's going on? 39 days till CIM. Yeah, who else did I see? Oh, I saw MK Sullivan, who I met in Chamonix. She's a sub-ultra trail runner for Kraft. She announced that she's going to be running CIM, trying to get the Olympic standard. And I saw her post today. I mentioned the same thing, and I was like, wow, is it really? When you say it like that, it seems like it's so close. And I guess 39 days is so close, but it just seems so close. Yeah, and then someone, yesterday when we played the game Whose Coffee Is This? And Elijah Orr had like 14 weeks till Surf City. And it's like, that doesn't seem that far away. And then you're like, Surf City's in February. And it's like, oh, wow, really? That's weird. I don't know. The older I get, the shorter time is. It just seems. Rob DeGenero says, I had a PR in my local half this weekend by 6 minutes. Yes. He said it was only my third, but still happy. Hey, man, you don't have to put a qualifier in that. You had a PR in your half marathon by 6 minutes. That's a great thing. He says goal was sub 140 and it hit 138. Well, congratulations. Yeah, there we go. Great job, Rob. All right. Sean Devlin said, hey, everyone, just watched Ginger Runner's new North Face short film on Shen Jiasheng. It's good. He's been talking about it a lot. And I'm excited for it. I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it yet. I feel like it's one of those ones that I'm going to save for later. You know what I mean? When my kids aren't going to be like asking for snacks and stuff, and I have time. I don't know when that's going to be. I mean, am I at the point where I'm going to wake up early on the weekend to watch it? Probably. Because then if I have time when the kids aren't, needing us, and my wife's awake, then we'll hang out. So for time for me to sit down and like watch a running movie, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to wake up early on a Saturday to watch it. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Because I don't want to just like, I watch a lot of YouTube and I watch a lot of TV. I usually just have it on the background and down here while I'm filming B-roll over there, But I feel like that's one that I want to pay attention to a little bit. So I'm very excited for it. Fionor says, can't run for 3 weeks due to stitches in my calf. And the COVID shot also hit me pretty hard. Just in time for the best running weather of the year in Delaware. Oh man, well, stitches in the calf sounds bad. For me, the COVID shot bothered me again for, as usual, it was pretty much how I expected. The first, almost day I felt fine. The second day is when I really started to feel, I just felt achy for a day. The second day. And then I was fine. Because then that following day, then I ran a race and I was good. So hopefully things pick up for you. Mark Meyer says, what's going on, Mark? Says, got my first run in the Kobe Run Club single yesterday since it was so warm. Definitely ready for colder temps, though. Well, thanks for the support, Mark, and I'm glad you were able to get some warm weather testing in. Nice. Matt Legrand says, yo, Cole, what's going on? What's going on, Matt? How are you? Good to see you. And Cosmic Pineapple Michael says, I wonder if there's a placebo effect for shoes under embargo. Does it cause some people to over or underrate them if they get them early? That's interesting. I think maybe, perhaps. I think like if you're newer to getting our embargo shoes, then probably. I've gotten embargo shoes for a while now, and then I've gotten other shoes early. I could say like to generalize, sometimes I'll get like a stability shoe early, and there's no placebo effect there. Let me tell you, I just still don't like stability shoes that much. So there's that. Although, here's the thing. I keep seeing the pictures of the Asics. I think it's the GT 2000, or maybe it's the GT 1000. I don't know. There's one. It kind of reminds me of an older Vomero, and not an old Vomero, but like the Vomero like 14, with the Achilles flare and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, that looks nice. I really like the look of that. Maybe I should try that. But I'm like, no, it's still a GT series. I don't know if I'm going to like that. But so it's possible that there could be a placebo effect. What I would love to be able to see more of is like, and I assume that people aren't kind of like peaking when it comes to reviews. But like sometimes a lot of times people review a shoe. Other people have already reviewed it at some point. You know what I mean? And so like, I know I go out of my way to avoid other people's reviews of a shoe that I know I'm going to review. And I assume other people do the same thing too. But sometimes it's hard. Sometimes like, you're scrolling through YouTube and you see like a thumbnail, like fantastic update, and so you've already seen it, you can't unsee that someone else has had that opinion. And so like, I would love to be able to be like, give runner, like I would love a challenge somehow. Again, this is one of those things where like Running Warehouse could probably do this best. Give people like the same same handful of shoes that no one has ever even seen before, and see what they think about it. And how different are the opinions? And I suspect that they would be very different, because even when we can kind of like at least even subliminally see what other people have thought about the same shoes, that's going to color our opinions at least a little bit. It's impossible not to. But there should be disagreements because we all perceive shoes a little bit differently. I mean, think about it. Even dentists can agree on toothpaste. 4 out of 5 dentists agree that this toothpaste is good. You know what I mean? So like it's one of those because there's so much variability in feet, and even just like I think Doctors Are Running did a thing on the perception of softness. People perceive softness differently. And I'm like, on its face, that makes no sense. But then some people love the Brooks glycerin. And so I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's true. So Robert Hart says, how do you handle the mental aspect of marathon training and during the actual race? I mean, you handle it from experience is how I think about it. Mantras and all that are good. But like, when things get tough, when problems arise, ideally, you through your training, it's been long enough and kind of extensive enough, because just surviving a marathon block is a challenge in and of itself, right? That you've experienced a lot of things that you might experience during a race, and so like that's why people are always like, don't always rush to the treadmill just because it's raining out. Don't get too picky about moving your workout date around just to be like, well, this day's going to be a little bit less windy than the other, because you don't know what you're going to face on race day. So there's always those kinds of things where like sometimes it is good to move your workout around. Like if there's like a nor'easter about to come through, maybe wait a day, move it a little bit. But, if you start to do that a little bit too much, then you lose some of those character building activities. So like someone, I guess, to go back to a mantra that I think could be helpful to this, even though I just said that mantras are only so helpful, is, like remember your training. You've been through all these things and worse before, so like that's kind of how I think about it, is like my mind gains confidence and strength with the knowledge that I've done this, that I've been here, that I can do this. Even if I'm going for a time that I've never run before, what I need to do to get there is only to do the things that I know I've already done. I'm not asking myself to do something super. I'm just asking myself to do something that I know I can do. I'm just stringing it together in a different way than I've done before, on the race day. And then I was watching something, Mario Frioli posted something, and that's not an everyday thing for him. And he was talking about the importance of just racing. And he specifically talked about, you could do all the race simulations and race specific training you want, but there are some things that you only learn in a race. And so I think he was talking about tune-up racing or even racing your distance for racing is really important too. So those are all parts of the mental, how you build strength in that dimension. All right. Let me scroll down and catch up with you. That was a long rant that I went on. Omar says, I'm a new viewer to your channel. Welcome. But I enjoy your reviews. Although it did kind of make me buy shoes I don't need. How they get me to start running. I want to be able to run 5K in a year. I think you could do that, but remember, don't rush. The whole thing with running is you want to build consistency over weeks and months. And if you're just starting out, the thing you want to do is you want to worry about building a habit. The harder thing for you right in the beginning is to learning how to carve out the time in your schedule to do the thing that you want to do. So after that, once you're doing it, don't worry about paces. Don't worry if you're running fast enough or far enough. All that stuff will kind of figure itself out, but only after you first build the habit of running, So welcome to the group, and I hope you enjoy your running. Lawrence Haas says, hi, Mike. I just got my acceptance email for the 2024 Chicago Marathon. Guaranteed entry. Excited to run it for the first time. Well, awesome. That's great news. And Hunter Holt says, hey, Co, random question. I got some of those Gatorade sweat patches from the Chicago Marathon. What are your thoughts? And weren't you evaluating other brands' patches? How did that go? I've also evaluated the Gatorade sweat patch, and it was fine. It kind of gives off the drink more Ovaltine kind of vibe, where it was just you need to replace more Gatorade. I think the problem that I have with the Gatorade patch is that when I was reading the ad copy that's on, or not the ad copy, but I don't remember if I was reading a brochure about it or something on the website about it, but it can track how much sweat you put into it. The limitation is it has to be only a certain amount of sweat. If you fill the thing, it ruins it. So you have to sweat a certain amount. So you just keep an eye on it as you're doing. You can't use it for a 4-hour activity. It's got to be a relatively shorter one. That was one of the limitations that I thought was kind of annoying, but it is pretty cheap. And it's built on the premise that you need to replenish the amount of fluid that you have lost. And I'm not sure if the Gatorade sweat patch is sensitive enough or designed to track the content of your sweat. I think it's just evaluating the volume of your sweat and then saying all right, so you've lost this amount based on the sweat patch that correlates to some other amount of total sweat volume per hour. And so therefore you must drink this much Gatorade per hour. So it seemed to be a little bit crude and based on an assumption that I'm not sure is good hydration science. I feel like we've debunked that before. Remember, I don't know if you remember, but I remember reading that Western states, they used to weigh you beforehand. And if you lost too much water weight during the race, they wouldn't let you go to past the aid station, based on the premise that you have to 100% replenish the amount of sweat volume lost with more hydration, which again, I don't think that's good science anymore. And I have tried the Nix product too. The Nix product was hard for me to evaluate because you wear it, it transmits data a little bit more sophisticated way than the Gatorade sweat patch does, and it can measure your sweat content. And from there, I think its most valuable tool is that it suggests brands that would match the amount of the content of the sweat that you lose. But it only told me to use the brands that I'm already using. So I'm like, I can't tell if it's helpful or not because it's not telling me to do anything different. So either I've already intuitively kind of like figured out this works well for me because it's matching my sweat content loss, or I just happen to have coincidentally enjoyed the flavors of Scratch. I don't know, but it's hard to kind of, for me, to objectively test it. So that's why N of ones are hard. But otherwise it went well. The problem with Nix as well, though, it also has this other function where you can leave it on your treadmill and it'll tell you like a visual, like kind of like like your hydration bar is going down, how much fluid you need to replenish based on how much sweat you're losing. But also that, I think, is based on the premise of you need to replenish the exact amount of sweat you're losing, volume for volume. And I don't know that that's really necessary. Joseph Leffert says, I'm coming from an Ultra Torn 7 and want to try something wide with a 4mm drop. Would you recommend either an SE Trainer version 2 in wide or Endorphin Speed 3 in wide from coming out of a zero drop shoe? What is the drop on the SE Trainer 2 this year? They changed it from last year. It seems like you want to try something wide with a 4mm drop that's also speedier than the Torin, is what I'm assuming based on the things that you've kind of picked. Because otherwise I'll be like, how about a Clifton? You can get a Clifton wide. And that may be a little bit closer. The Torin is a slight stability shoe too, though, I think. And I don't know if Ultra's been hiding that or what. But I remember when I've tried running in the Torin before, and I gave it a lot of tries, and I was like, there's something about the shoe that I just don't like. It disagrees with me. It hurts. And everyone talks about how great it is, and it's a taller stack height shoe. And then last month I was reading that Torin is their mild stability shoe, and I'm like, it's the what? See, I can tell. No placebo effect there. Even in a blind, I didn't know the Torin was mild stability, but now apparently they're saying it's mild stability. And in retrospect, it makes sense based on what I was feeling. That's why I didn't like the Torin. But so I would say maybe the speed, even though I don't, is the speed a 4mm drop? Anyway, but the speed, something from Saucony, because Saucony has little hints of stability in all their shoes. The Kinvara Pro, which I don't know what the drop is on that, might be the right way to go. My ultimate premise being that people spend a lot of time worrying about drop, and I think that they spend maybe a little bit too much time worrying about drop in a world where we have foams that are different from shoe to shoe, right? Saying oh, this is an 8mm drop shoe and this is a 4mm drop shoe, and I can infer a lot of useful conclusions from that, only applied in a world where every shoe was EVA. We do not live in that world anymore. And so even just from the SE Trainer, you're going with a supercritical TPU foam, I believe. And then the Endorphin Speed 3 is Power Run PB in that shoe. So it's is it beaded TPU foam? Is that what it is? Anyway, neither of those are EVA or the similar type of foam compound and don't have the same kind of squish dynamics as what we see in the Ultra Ego foam. So yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying, but if you want to have a 4mm drop, so that's a kind of a side note, and I don't think that you should worry all that much about it in terms of what the drop is, and you can possibly widen your search. On the other hand, the Topo Cyclone 2 is a 4mm drop shoe with a P-Bax foam and no plate. That one can be really fun, and I think is a solid competitor to the Endorphin Speed 3 that you might find to be perfect. That was a really long-winded answer today. All the answers are long-winded today. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Legitimo says, any suggestions for the most breathable daily trainer out there? Someone's really killer here in the Philippines. Thanks much. Most breathable daily trainer. I don't know. I'll have to look. I have to look in the shoes that I'm done running in more because I'm in the kind of winter-ish or fall shoes at this point. I mean, yeah, some shoes are definitely warmer than others, but yeah, breathable. The Rebel 3 is pretty breathable, I feel like. Usually I only really care about breathability in like my racing shoes and my workout shoes, but those usually aren't too much of a problem. They're usually always pretty breathable. Just trying to think of what else is on this wall that I could look at. I think I don't know. Is the Boston a pretty breathable shoe? I feel like that is. The Nova Blast is mildly breathable. The back heel part is really puffy and sweat's going to collect in the back of that one. Yeah. Trying to think. Puma D pretty breathable. Velocity Nitro is, that's a little on the warm side. Yeah. Those are some options for you. Yeah, Sega Dreamcast says the Adios would be a good option too. I agree, but that's not like a daily trainer. I wouldn't want to run that as a daily trainer. It's just not enough foam for me on that one. Frank says the Triumph 19 is not breathable. True. Cumulus 25. The mesh is very breathable, but it's got so much puffiness in the back. Again, that's going to be a sweat sponge. Matt says the Cloud Monster. I didn't feel like the Cloud Monster was that breathable. It feels kind of like a, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to take another look at that one. You can see the color of your socks through the shoes. Yeah, that's not really a daily trainer though. It's not a lot of foam in that one. Oh, Kurt says the Mach is pretty breathable as well. I agree with that one. That's a good one. New Betcher says, could the Streak Fly be a daily trainer? It can if you're not running a lot. Like if I feel like high school cross country kids, track kids, that are not running, like where like a 5 mile run might be their long run, that would be fine. If you're doing a lot of your runs like on grassy stuff or on a track, then it's fine. But like I wouldn't want to use it as a daily trainer. It's not bad, but it's it kind of reminds me like when I look at the Rebel version 3, I'm like, there's just not enough foam. That's not going to be comfortable on a longer run. It turns out it definitely is, but like Streak Fly has the same exact problem. You're like, that's definitely not going to be comfy in a longer run. And then you take it you're out there for like an hour and you're like, yeah, I was right. I'm not that comfortable because it's designed for going a little bit faster. All right, Lane Harrison says, first marathon coming up, Super Blast or Endorphin Pro 3. I think that the Endorphin Pro 3 is a really great marathon shoe. If you were worried about a little bit more comfort than performance, maybe you're planning on being on feet a little bit longer, then I might reach for the Super Blast. I raced CIM in the Super Blast last year, and I definitely found like towards the end, I just wanted something a little bit more peppy at the end. I wished it had carbon. And so I think that the Endorphin Pro 3 would be a better choice. Bob Tubb says, hey all, Kabuzi, your Chicago Marathon videos are always my most awaited movie of the year. Well, thank you so much. I always have a good time making those. Esk says that the Nimbus 25s feel like a sauna compared to the Nova Blast. It's nice in time with winter here. I have run in the Nimbus in the winter. I didn't do that much summer running in the Nimbus, not because it was hot, just because I was done with the reviews with them by that point. But yeah, it's the back of the shoe. Like puffiness just becomes really hot after a while. And CV76 says, the Tokyo Marathon video has done really well. I know it has. I was really surprised. I think part of it is that like not a lot of people have run Tokyo. It's the newest, right, of the majors, and it's also one of the most difficult to get in. And so as far as like English speaking media that can like talk about it, there's not a lot. So it's kind of like, if you want to see a Tokyo Marathon video, I'm your choice. Just like when I was doing research on the Tokyo Marathon, like the only video that I could find was the one that the Runner Beans did years ago. Years ago, she ran the Tokyo Marathon, and that's not where I first found her. But like I'd already been kind of following her on YouTube and Instagram for a little while, and then she had made the Tokyo Marathon video years ago, and I was like, there's no other resource. But her video was actually very helpful in terms of preparing. So I think that's part of it. I also like to think I did a pretty good job too. I mean, I think I ran hard, I hit a PR, so lots of fun stuff. So I was very happy with how that one does. All right. Chin Poiku says, "Hi Mike, I'm currently awaiting my first I'm gonna start over. I'm trying to read too fast. It says, hi Mike, I'm currently aiming my first marathon target at sub 4 hour in another 7 weeks. Which is more critical between long tempo day or 12 miles versus long slow distance at 18 miles? They're all going to be pretty important. If it's your first marathon and you're going, what's the pace at sub 4? Is that like 9-minute miles? Right? Something like that. Then 18 miles is a really long day. I wouldn't want to do that more than like once or twice during the training block. Like if you do an 18 mile, maybe you do a 20 mile as well. I'm not sure that I do much more than that as far as your very, very long runs. 12 miles is going to be really important for you too, because I feel like you're going to get a lot of aerobic benefit out of that. And a long tempo day is also going to be important. But I think that like, ideally a marathon training plan would have all of those things in there. And I'm not going to say like, all right, here's how you could run. The book that I hate the most that's out there that exists in the running world is Run Faster, Run Less, or something like that. It's like a runner's world book. I just don't like that mentality of approaching the marathon. So like you have 7 weeks or realistically 5 more weeks of training. So I would say whatever your training plan is, stick with the plan, complete the plan, and don't try to think of like, all right, well, I'm kind of feeling tired, so here's what I'm going to cut. Unless you feel like there is an injury risk of happening, it's hard. The question feels weird to me. They're all important, but I would say like running 12 miles should be something that you do somewhat regularly. 18 miles is maybe something that you do once. Long tempo day, you can depending on your level of running history, you may not need to do a ton of those. So if I have to pick in this weird scenario question, I would pick the 12 miles as the most important. Maybe. Oh wait, no, there's two things here. I read the question wrong. Tempo day of 12 miles or long slow distance of more than 18 miles. Yeah, a long tempo day of 12 miles, again, it depends on what tempo means too. But I'm going to say I'm going to answer neither. Change my answer a little bit. Is that getting good quality aerobic work in the 2 hour range, 1.5 hour to 2 hour range is going to be really important for you to do. But ultimately, I would say stick to your plan. All right, Kurt said he sent you an email, but I'm looking for a pair of prescription glasses. Most reviews are sunglasses, but I want something for lower light. Have you tested, or can you recommend any? I wear the Rokas. The Rokas are my favorite for sunglasses and prescription glasses as well. I feel like they have styles that fit kind of my face a little bit better, and they're made for running. So if I want to run in these prescription lenses, I can. Same thing with the if you want to do prescription sunglasses as well. So that gives you an option, and then you can pick a variety of lens gradients that you want as well. Just kind of like you can with their swimming goggles, depending on like the type of swimming that you do, you can pick different lenses, like weather conditions and like if you're indoors versus outdoors primarily, you know. Sam Walter says, "Hey, Co, do you test different sock brands too, or do you have a favorite that you always use?" Yeah, socks are a little bit harder to test because you can't see them, you know, so I don't do a lot of like sock reviews. The way that you'll see socks kind of show up on my feed, especially it's hard for me because I like no-show socks. The way you see socks show up for me on my feed is sometimes if I have like crew length socks, you might see me where I'm on a trail run. I wear longer socks at the gym, you know. But as far as socks that I like it depends. In the summer, I usually like Stance and Darn Tough. Those are two that I really enjoy, although I enjoy a wide variety of socks. And then in the winter, I like, again, Stance and Darn Tough are two brands that I also enjoy. So I guess those are the two that I like the most. I don't like Balegas that much because they have the little extra thing around the little bumper pad around the back. It just makes the shoe fit funny, in my opinion, and I don't like that. Some people that have very sensitive Achilles might really prefer it, but I don't like that. I have some Injinji socks that I like. I don't have a problem with the Injinji socks. Those are nice. But like, I don't know. More than any other socks, my Injinji socks in the wash, they get separated. There's no rhyme or reason to that. Kurt says, Stances are my favorite. And for racing, I like the Compress Sport. Is it Compress Sport or Compress Port? I feel like when I read it, I read Compress Port. But I'm sure it's Compress Sport, like compression for sports. Yeah. John Burchett Sharp JBS says, I wear Rudy Projects glasses, replaceable lenses for varifocals. Oh, replaceable lenses. I had the Adidas eyewear replaceable lenses. I don't think I've ever tried any Rudy Projects glasses before. I've tried a couple of different brands this year that some PR companies sent me. I tried like Koo was one. Those were not a great fit for my face. I enjoyed them, and I think a lot of other people enjoyed them, but for me, they didn't really work. That was one that was kind of weird. Go running with Oliver wants to know favorite tube socks. My favorite tube socks, I have some like sentimental favorite pairs. Like I have a pair of Stance. They're not completely over the calf, but they're pretty tall. They're Wu-Tang ones that I really like. They have killer bees on them. Or no, I think they just have the Wu-Tang logo on them. But Stance tends to, like every once in a while, do like a Wu-Tang collab product, and it's just fun. And I have I don't know that they're not old, but this company doesn't exist anymore. I have a pair of tube socks that are East Bay brand. And I think that they're soccer socks because they're so big. They're very padded. So it makes me feel like they might be soccer socks, but I like to wear those in the winter too, underneath my tights. CB76 says, Lincoln invented toe socks. That's a fact. That's funny. Michael Cooper says, tips for starting a running YouTube channel. One, I would say start now. Start making a bunch of videos. No one's going to watch, and that's a blessing at first. Then you'll make a bunch of videos. You'll get better at it. You know. Second tip would be after you've made a bunch of videos, you'll start to figure out what's your point of view. Like what's your niche? What's your micro audience? Sub genre of audience, you know, of people that are going to absolutely love what you're talking about. Figure out what that is. And it's okay. That can and should change over time. Eventually you'll settle into something, but like it might change over time. For a while, I was the Bluetooth earbuds guy. Cheap Bluetooth earbuds on Amazon that are pretty much made by some random company you've never heard of. Do they work? That was kind of like my brand for a while. And then eventually that changed. The third thing would be, and I think all these things are simultaneous. They're not in order. You should do all these three things at the same time. Find a cohort. Figure out who are the other people who have running channels about the same size of you that may or may not be in the same exact subgenre as you, but find some friends and work together. Yeah, you need a cohort. You got to be commenting on each other's stuff, supporting each other, liking all their stuff, sharing it on yours. You know, you guys will all grow together. That's how it works. Daniel Burton says, what's the best anti-fog glasses? I don't know. I don't have too many problems with the Rokas in terms of fog. I'm trying to think. The only time I really worry about fog on the glasses is when I'm running with ski goggles. Because if I'm running in ski goggles, I usually also have a mask on, and it just fogs everything up. It never works great for me. New Betcher says, I wore Rudy's for a long time. It seemed like there was a stretch where every bike racer had a Rudy Project deal, at least in New England. Oh, really? That was like that must have been their push. You know. You guys have been running in a lot of socks that I've not, like either heard of a little bit or have not heard of. Eric's been running in Features, which I've run in some Features socks before. They were pretty good. Swiftwick, I'm not sure if I've heard of that before. And in Gingy, he said they're all solid. He likes Belega too. All right. And then Cosmic Final Michael says, Stegen are my favorite socks. I've never heard of that. Also really like Swiftwick, Expire, and Drymax Hyperthin. Did not like Belega. Oh, I used to have a pair of Drymax that were really good, and then I lost one of the two. Morgan the Running Guy says, I never figured out what the benefits are for each type of socks. I always just wear the no-show socks. I like no-show or like as low as possible, kind of like whatever's their lowest possible, and thin. I don't want them thicker because it interferes with my ability to experience the shoe a little bit, you know, so. Sega Dreamcast has a great question. And we'll end on this one for today. Has there ever been a shoe review video you didn't complete for one reason or another? There's a lot of shoes that I thought I would like kind of like review more or do more videos on that I ended up not, just because like I was initially interested in the shoe, and then after a while like I just found myself not reaching for it, and then other shoes came and it got busy, and then all of a sudden like pretty much next version of the shoe's out. And so then there's that. So there's that. That happens all the time. Like shoes like even just the 880 version 12. I think I did a first video and I really enjoyed the shoe. I just never got around to running 100 miles in them. So like that kind of thing will happen. And I used to make videos about that. It'd be like shoes I'm retiring early for one reason or another. And just another chance to kind of like talk about these shoes, about why I didn't like love them as much. But in terms of like shoes that I was just like, let's shoot the B-roll, let's run a couple times in it, and then yeah, no, I can't review this. I haven't had that. There have been shoes that I've run in that I'm like, I am not reviewing these. And those are generally the kinds of shoes that I don't like to review anyway. Like shoes that are very brands, like a new brand. And a lot of times when that happens, they're like, oh, this is a brand new brand. You know, we're starting this. Here's our premise. We got these kinds of shoes. We want you to try them out. Can we send you some? And I'm like, okay. Or stuff like that I might find at TRE. I'll try them. And I'm just like, these aren't ready for market yet. I don't usually say that. I'll just say, okay, I'll thanks for the shoes. I'll test them. And then I just never end up testing them. So there's stuff like that. Where I'm like, that's why I don't like to do things that are really, really on the far end of early. And I also just don't like to review shoes that are like not going to be sold in the US, because those are signals to me that the shoes may not be ready. And usually I'm right about that. So, you know, those are the ones that like, so those are shoes that I'm like, I'm running them and I'm like, I'm definitely not reviewing this, because it's not fair. Because if it's a new brand, a bad review early on can be pretty, I think, not that I can make or break a company, but if I review it and it's not great and someone else reviews it and it's not great, then it just becomes a problem for the brand. And maybe that's a good thing for the brand overall, but I just don't want to be the guy responsible for that. So like, I'm just like, yeah, so there's a lot of stuff like that. I don't do those. I don't usually accept those for a review. Sometimes they like just end up with me at some point, but then I won't review them. So those are the kinds of shoes that I won't like really review. So, yeah. All right. That's going to be a good place to end it for today. Tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Thursday? Tomorrow, Thursday, you know what? Who knows what we're going to have for a video tomorrow. I have to change up some of the schedule a little bit. So we will have a video tomorrow morning. Who knows what it's going to be on? It might be the Pure Trail. It's probably going to be the Pure Trail review. But I haven't even started filming that thing yet. So, I mean, maybe we don't get a video till Friday. But I don't know. We'll see. I got some work I got to do. But hopefully we'll have a video tomorrow. And then we'll have another live stream. Same time as today, 1 p.m. Central Time. Until I see you then, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.